It is a truth universally acknowledged that Northanger Abbey is one of the most underappreciated Austen books. And for all my other Austen lovers that are also a little bit goth girl, here's a list of movies that are going to be great for you this spooky season. Hello and welcome to Book Hoarding by Bianca. I am Bianca and today we are discussing gothic movies, Halloween movies, autumnal movies, whatever you want to call it, for Austen fans. This is based on a really popular blog post that I have about these movies, but I thought I'd do it in video form since audiences on different platforms are different. This list is not for Austen fans who hated Emma 2020 and the nosebleed scene. If you can't take the nosebleed scene, you can't take these movies. Firstly, of course, you need to check out Northanger Abbey. Both the 2007 and 1972 versions are kind of fun and gothy in their own ways. I'd say the more recent one has really cool fantasy, like little scenes and stuff that really hype up the gothic elements. But that 70s one is batshit. If you have not seen it, it is weird. There's added weird characters and scenes that you just don't... Every time I watch it, I catch basically more stuff that I didn't realize I had forgotten because it's just like a blur of what the fuck am I watching? Which is not a bad thing, let me just say. Not knowing exactly what is happening in that is actually fine. It's a journey. So if you love 2007 and you don't want to have Northanger besmirched by anything else, I get it. But if you're open to a very weird, very unique take on it, check out the 70s one. Next up on my list is Mary Shelley, which is this kind of following her life movie, but also has like these elements of like the fantastical of like Frankenstein and stuff. And while Mary Shelley was published after Austen died, I do want to remind folks that there is overlap in terms of Regency. Like, we know that Austen was even reading some of the eventual like big name romantics, so like check that out because I think there's great overlap in time period and in theme. This is actually my favorite recommendation because it's so kooky. I don't know why it was made. Gothic. That's the name of it. Gothic is about the notorious Geneva party, aka when Byron and the Shelleys were all cooped up in a place along with some friends and they all wrote stories together, right? And that's supposedly the night that like the idea that inspired Dracula came up and also Frankenstein was conceived. This movie follows that and it's very, very weird. There's tons of fantasy and weird gothy elements and horror elements to it. But it's all kind of campy, I guess. I don't know. It's very weird. If you are into anything that can be slightly gory at all, even a little bit, like I'm not a horror slasher film person, but this movie is like comedically creepy to me. So check that one out. While we're talking the Frankenstein era, I know like this is like, why are we talking about Mary Shelley? Come on, folks. Be okay with Mary Shelley. She grew up in the Regency. It's fine. Also check out Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's a mess, but it has a lot of the same like horror and like kind of like late Regency, early Victorian horror elements. Check it out. Much like the previous movie, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies has people who either love it or hate it. I personally really dig it. I think it does its own thing. I think it's actually a vast improvement on the book itself, which was a hellscape. I think the proposal scene is great, and I also say this is the best Mr. Collins we've ever had in cinema. If you want things with less fantasy elements, check out Death Comes to Pemberley, which is a mini-series and deals with the murder mystery at Pemberley. If you just want some more like Georgian kind of vampire-y, spoopy stuff, check out What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah, like they have Georgian and historical vampires in there. I think that's a fun way to kind of just like bridge that continually like historical spoopiness. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is also a mini-series you can check out that is also Regency and has a lot of fantasy elements. It does a lot with its own thing in terms of an alternative universe, but it's still worth checking out if this is just like a thing that you kind of want this kind of genre or vibe. 2003's Byron is... it's a lot. And like, Byron is not without his problems. But, I mean, he's gonna be goth dude. It's gonna be like very moody. You can check that out if you just really need to continue this kind of weird goth into romantic period thing. If you need more of the horror novels, shockingly, there's not much made of them in terms of movie and media, which is a bummer, because God, I would love to see some of those made. Unfortunately, the worst of the horror novels, The Monk, is actually a thing. And I've only seen the trailer. I haven't seen the actual movie because the book is horrific. But apparently there is a movie of the monk, and that's just terrifying to me. I found Disney's 2003 Haunted Mansion to be pretty fun in terms of like the goth vibes. And also like she ends up in like a Regency wedding gown in the end of it. Spoilers, but like there's this kind of ahistorical aspect to Disney's Haunted Mansion, the 2003 movie. So I'd say check that out if you just want the kind of like high romance, weird but family friendly vibes for a movie. So those are my recs for Jane Austen fans who just want a little bit something that's like a little historical, little Austen-y, have some of those elements to it, and that's what my list is kind of just based on. Just movies and media that I've seen that kind of have the elements that I feel like I really enjoy about Northanger Abbey. Well, let me know if you watch any of these or what your favorite spooky season movies are. Check out my Patreon and my Ko-fi to leave me a little tip or to follow me for more in-depth behind the scenes stuff. Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to make it so.